Recording stop. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So what is the wealthiest place on earth? Okay. And I want you to give me some moments to get you to that interview chair. Like I said, that hot chair, that hot room where your destiny is awaiting for you. So it's a lot going on before that. And I want to touch on what it is before we get to that point, whatever your dreams, your goals are. And so this is rhetorical, the wealthiest place on earth, but it's a place where dreams, your goals, purposes, destinies go unfulfilled. Now, I'm not trying to panic anyone, but it's to speak to a sense of urgency. As you heard the expression, life is too short. And the bucket list, some of us call it New Year's resolutions, where we say what we're going to do the subsequent year. And part of that could be, well, what vocation, what career, what pathway do I make? I want to be this, I want to be that. And so this place is a place where that's all gone, and it's like, whoa, I'm not trying to shock you. And so all the books not written, the films not made, the dances not danced. The goal is that it's okay to do that New Year's resolution, to say, I want to be this, I want to go here, I want to do that. However, one vital step is missing in that. And another question, ask yourself, if what I'm doing today is getting me closer to where I want to be tomorrow, is it? Okay, you define your goals. Okay, I want to get this promotion. I want to go on this trip. I want to lose weight. It goes on and on and on. But to get from that goal setting to that reality, to that perceived that reality, which is your ultimate journey, is that middle step that a lot of folks are missing, that action. And so I want to give you some quotes. I love affirmations and quotes. And George already said it when he introduced me on the first one: change your thoughts and you change your world. It's important how we frame things. You know that expression, the glass is half empty, or is it half full? It's a matter of perspective, isn't it? So, but the ones that see it as half full, it's what that video I showed you, Hope. Let's talk about that video real quick. Somewhere over the rainbow. Do you know how you get a rainbow? A storm has to happen. Rain has to happen. And so replace rain with challenges of life, with disappointments, or I didn't get that job in that interview. And notice the rainbow comes after that challenge, after that thing that disappointed you. And so it's important that rainbow is a sign of hope, a new day, a new season, and the best is yet to come. And so don't see it as a defeat. See it as a challenge and a strengthening to build you up for the next opportunity. So obstacles will happen. And so I want to talk to you about pathway, the journey. And my title is The Career Journey. This is a journey. It's not necessarily a destination where you end up. So second bullet, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. Now, I want to say it's courageous to sit there in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in a job interview. Okay. One fear people have is speaking, right? And especially speaking about themselves. And so it's important that you develop that ability to pursue your goals and It's a 4-letter word, fear. All this is fear. And so, and that fear is in the mind. Now, it could be some real reasons and why you're apprehensive or, uh, uh, negative or not hopeful. But I want to say, like that video you saw in the background, that rainbow, remember that rainbow is going to happen after those challenges, if they are. And if you live long enough, you're going to experience challenges. You're going to experience disappointment, not getting that position. So we're going to talk about what you need to do before that interview. Do you want to be safe and good, or take chances and be great? And I love this last one. The only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be. Notice, decide to be. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get everything we want, right? But we're going to get more than what we would have if we decided to just sit back and not pursue it, pursue whatever it is. And so I'm talking to folks that has graduated out of college, newbie, a first job, or you're like me, been around a while, like seasoned or like fine wine, right? We've been around a while, but we're still good. We're still pumping. We're still walking. We're still running. We're still in the game. So you may want a career change and again, you may want to look for upward mobility as well, no matter what your age, how long you've been around, whatever your desires or goals. That's what that video was showing, that it's never too late. And so let's talk about the difference between a job and career. And this is mindset. And you'll carry this into the interview room. This difference, the job. You need money. You need to build up a track record. May not be your ultimate destination, but something that you need for survival. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need shelter. We all need food. We all need clothes, etc. Employment as part of the human race. And so the career path is a significant period of a person's life where the pursuit of a lifelong ambition, progression toward their lifelong goals, long-term, call it a purpose, a calling. Well, let me tell you something. When I started with EDD, I had a job. It's not a career. It was like, I'm going to be here a year, year and a half, 2 years. And then something happened to me along the way. I started to like this job and say, wow, maybe I'm going to stick around for a longer period than I originally intended. And let me tell you, it's about intention. I want to, there's an excellent book by Dr. Wayne Dyer called The Power of Intention. And it's about creating your world, your pathway. So what I'm suggesting is to start establishing yourself and creating your world as you see it. Okay. And we don't want to be a feather. You know what a feather is? What happens with the wind? If the wind goes east, that feather goes east. If it goes west, it goes west, north, and south. So we want intent and not accident. Now, things will happen that we didn't count on, and that's positive, or perhaps not so positive, and we run with it. So, but it's important to be as intentional with your career as possible, because guess what? When you get in your car, do you just drive around? You're trying to go somewhere. No, you look it up. GPS, map book. I want to date us, some of us, and say that Thomas guide. Remember that? The Thomas guide? You have to look up and flip. Uh-oh, did I? Anyway, George is saying, George, you're like me. You're 20 years old, right? You're 20 years old. I see my brother and then Maurice and
yeah, I remember it.
To my wife too, Sandra's there. So get that Thomas guide. You had to pull over, say, oh man, where are you going? Where am I going? And so, no, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't get in the car just trying to, I believe it's going that way, you know? And so I remember asking someone for help on direction. And they say, when you get to the big rock, and then when you get to that yellow hotel, when you get to this, turn left and keep going right. I'm like, what? I'm like, we're doomed. We're doomed. So don't do that with your career. And a lot of us is by accident. Whoa, I just landed here. I don't know how. I got beamed down. Scotty beamed me down. And I don't know, what do you people, what do you do here? So be intentional, and the more success you will have. So which road do I take? It lends to that. I'm gonna be an angel advocate. I used to say I'm the devil's advocate. I said that ain't right. I don't want to be no devil's advocate. I want to be an angel advocate. So which career path do I take? So should I accept any job? And I understand that you want experience, and mommy and daddy want you out of the house and get you a job. Hey, get something where you can pay your bills so you can get out. You can get out. We encourage you to move, relocate. so um, so it's important that, yeah, you do gain some skills and knowledge, and makes you more valuable in the workplace. Okay. And that, or you're in the job and they ask for, well, do you want to do this assignment? And we're going to get on the things, specific things you can do on the job. And guess what? Some people believe that the interview is in the interview room on a specific date and time in front of certain people. I want to burst your bubble there. No, it's not. Guess what? Your job interview's already started on the job you have.
Yep.
Yeah, it has. Everybody know what I'm talking about. Guess, you know that expression, your reputation precedes you? Well, your reputation precedes that job interview. Those folks know, okay? They have your application resume, and there's gonna be reference checks to validate stuff, and there's gonna be history, and there's gonna be, hey, how is so-and-so? So your interview is now. And guess what? I've read a lot of surveys and stuff, even written about it, where they surveyed employers. Just showing up is half the battle. They can't even get people to show up. It's 8 o'clock, it's 8:30, they're not even here. So the people that arrive on time, and now I'm not talking about people, because I've been late too, and things happen, 5 traffic accidents, something happens. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about, perpetually or periodic or continuously not showing up. And also, when you do show up, is part 2. Are you hitting the goals? Do you know what the goals are? Make sure that's clear, because you'll be successful if you sit down with your boss, your employer, and say, well, what are the priorities here? And that discussion has to happen. What do you want me to do first, second, third, and fourth? What's the hierarchy here? And those are things that I do with my immediate supervisor, division chief, and it's like, well, okay, you want me to do these 10 things? Which one? Which one first? I can only do one at a time. So, and then 2, 3, 4, and we go over that. We literally, okay, I need you to do this. Okay, thank you. And I do my best to do it. And so I'm building trust that, oh, he listened to me, the trust that I can count on him, her. And those are things you do before that interview, that official interview session is, because the interview started when they hired you. We're all being evaluated, even if you don't know it. So when does the journey start? Well, we just been through that. It already did. Literally, it could be maybe the job before. You could be testing the waters with different positions, different jobs, or whatever. Because our younger folks, millennials, they're still getting their roots together about what do you want to do with your life. And other people like me, 34 years with ED, may say, what's the next 5 years look like? Do I want to continue down this path? Or you see this slide, look at that zigzaggedy. Well, maybe it's not a linear vertical pathway. It goes left, right, zigzags. And that's really life. It doesn't just go in a straight line. That's just maybe textbook stuff, but not real life stuff. It zigzags a bit. And a lot of those could be blessings, by the way. You didn't count on something that happened and it happened. Okay. I'm not just talking negative. So how do you want to spend the next decades of your life? Forever. No right or wrong answer. And I always say, pursuing purpose with passion, along with a whole lot of patience, because it's not overnight. You hear that overnight success, that's rare. It's very rare that someone just out of the gate, boom, you're just successful. It does happen. It's a lottery to do that. Most of us human beings have a longer pathway to realizing whatever that goal is, that dream is. So to drill this down even further, you know, with the previous two slides, which road do I take? When does the journey start? Well, when you discover, in my opinion, the greatest discovery is when you discover your purpose and your and that possess that unbridled passion to pursue it, your career. You're on track. And remember when we were kids? I know my brother's here. So let's pick on Johnny and Mary for a moment. What do you be when you want to grow up? So on Monday, it was an astronaut. Perhaps Tuesday is a police officer. Wednesday is whatever else at the time when we were growing up. Now it's NBA star or a hip hop artist, a rapper, huh? So I don't know. So you could be, the point is, when you ask that child and look at him in the face, he means it. No, I'm gonna be an astronaut. I'm gonna be this. He means it. And he can be anything. The world is their oyster. He and she and he. So when we start to grow up, it's part of the problem. Now, all of a sudden, those things we said when we were kids seem so out of reach and impossible in an adult mind. And we talk ourselves out of certain things. And so we talk ourselves out. Well, I'm not going to interview. They won't want me. I don't, you know. And so I'm starting this presentation about fear and also the things in our mind and how we need to reframe things, because it does speak to what you do day in, day out on the current job you have and the future job you want to have, and then the interview itself. And so with those expressions of doubts and fears and listening to others, it could be, and sometimes what's that expression? We're our worst enemy, right? We could be the worst one that talked us out of something. And so we need to reframe that and erase those seeds of doubt, that inner voice, that negative chatter. And Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, never grow up. Peter Pan said, never grow up. You see what happens. And so, of course, we physically, realistically grow up and get older each year. But this is talking more so the analogy, the metaphor is in the mind. Okay. To identify yourself as, and not put those restrictions on us that says, I can't do this, I can't do that. Maybe you can't, but try. Go for it. With research now. Okay, do your homework. Do your homework and due diligence on this. And we spend a lot of effort buying a house and a car, but we need to spend a lot more effort on ourselves. And so let's say, well, who am I, Michael Kane? Who am I? I don't know who I am. Who are you? Who am I? Sometimes we spend a lifetime to answer this question. Who do I want to be? Self-reflection, right? The point is, don't let anyone define you but you. But then you have to say the right things into your life, right? This is no metaphysical exercise here. This is, you know, an old pastor friend of mine, Pastor Bill, I haven't seen him in years, used to say stinking thinking. So you guys got to stop this stinking thinking, meaning you're already defeated out of the gate. you know, the first second on the floor, they're going to beat us. Okay. So just don't diminish yourself. And again, identify who do you want to be? And that's a challenge. Some people know at 5 years old, some 10, some 20, some 30, some 40, and you can shift. So the point is, if this were a film, I love movies. I don't know who out there loves movies. We could talk about the MCU, DCU, right? Universe. So, but write your story, direct your story, produce your story. My Best Career Life is the name of your movie, and the award goes to you. Drum roll, you. Be the best version of yourself. May have heard that expression. And the way to do that is that focus. And so there's a little pyramid of success here. What is my vision? I don't know if you ever done a leaderboard, a vision quest, or but as far as define, with EDD, every department has their own vision and mission statement. What I did with my management team is we developed our own vision statement and mission statement in the context of what we do, of course. And so it was a good, this was pre-pandemic when you can actually meet in the office. And so we're not there yet, but we went around the room and talked about it, and it was very enlightening as far as and it took great effort. A lot of people they needed literally 2 to 3 weeks to do this. They just could not, I don't know what my vision for myself is. See, and that's part of the problem, because we're that feather. The wind is blowing west, so we're blowing west with the wind. And I'm suggesting to stop being a feather, and we need to take time out to define who we are. Do I have what it takes to make it? Yes. How do I move to the next level? Yes. Those are questions. Will my dreams ever come true? The video, yes, they can. What is my destiny? And so those are things to consider, to sit down to determine what's my ambition level. Do I have the energy to for this next assignment, this next promotional opportunity? And I wanted to introduce too the work. I don't have a slide with this, but well, it's mentioned later on, the work-life balance issue. I've had people say, well, Mr. Kane, I'm just not ready for this promotion because I have 4 little kids. They're all 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. Well, I understand, so it's not a good time for me. Or this commute pattern would take me another, hour or something, and I can't because I'm taking care of my mother. So work-life balance, please consider those things, because I've had people probably not even 2 years ago demote because just a struggle. So it would be good to plan and think and consider those things before accepting a position that you're still kind of iffy on. And so I just want to introduce the work-life balance. It's no harm, no foul. I've turned down a couple opportunities because of the work-life balance issue. It just wasn't right at that time. So I want you to consider those things when you're pursuing you're on your career path. Now, this self-assessment inventory is part of a much larger thing. It was like over 100 elements to choose your top 5, values. And so on this one, I chose, okay, family's important. And guess what? On studies, when they have these and present it to corporate America folks and employers, guess what you would think? You would think, well, I want more money because I could do better with my family if I have more money. Money was not even in the top 10. Can you imagine? Wasn't even the top 10 of things. Of course it's important, but money is more, yes, it's more to life than money. What if you have $1 million, but you're miserable? That serves no purpose, right? So skills, knowledge, maybe spiritual, nature, adventure, they have all these other values. So I suggest you do that for yourself. And I know in our department branch, we have done that from time to time. And so I encourage you to know off the top of your head at some point, what is your top things that you're looking for starting and moving forward? Because that'll help dictate what opportunities you attempt to seek, okay? And goals, see, all these things stimulate. What are your goals? What do you want to do? Vision, just another way of saying that. Okay, interesting slide here. Yes, I am going to ask you rhetorically, which one you want to be if you're locked in the same room for 2 hours? Which one do you want to be? You want to be little Bambi over there, little lamb sheep? Or do you want to be that lion? Maybe we should raise hands. Which one do you be? He says, well, are we locked in the same? Yes, you're in the same room. It's just you and him. him, her. I don't know, gender neutral here. Which one? I you know, I when I did this presentation, I had this slide. I had to bring back this slide because I said, let me get rid of it. I brought it back. In one presentation, a lady says, well, I love being a lamb. I'm like, what do you say? I can't be a lamb, a sheep? I said, no, Michael Kane is not saying you can't be a lamb and sheep. But all I'm saying is the lion is deemed courageous. And when we're talking about a career path, we're talking about being courageous. It is, I've been on both sides in that interview room. And it was, hello? Okay. And may want to mute there. Okay. But you may want to consider whatever that opportunity is, should you go for it? And now I'm not talking about either one. No animal's better than the other. But again, if you're locked in a room, I'd rather be the lion personally. But but courage. Now, what is courage and what is fear? In my opinion, courage is not the absence of fear. I know we would like to think so, but just look at all around you when you see interviews of people and what they say. I was even a veteran of entertainment, a comedian or actor or celebrity or whatever. They said, oh, I'm scared when I perform on stage. But what I do is I keep doing it, and the fear, it disseminates and it diminishes and it fades away. Guess what? While you're in action of doing the thing you feared most, referring to Job, I guess, biblically here, doing the thing that you fear most. That's what gets rid of the fear, not one day waking up as a superhero, okay, and saying, ooh, I'm strong, indestructible, I have no fear. Doesn't work that way in the real world. It's starting with the left foot, with the right foot, with the left, right, doing the thing you fear most, and all of a sudden, you're going to look back and reflect and say, man, I didn't do this for 20 years because of that fear of something going wrong or whatever. And guess what? What if something does go wrong and you fall down? Quote from Batman, Alfred in Batman, if you ever know who Batman is, crime fighter. And Alfred, his butler, said, Master Bruce, when you fall down, you know why you fall down? So you can pick yourself up. And so you pick yourself up. You remember trying to ride a bicycle or doing something that was incredibly difficult? You succeeded after the 20th, 30th, 50th, 100th attempt, right? What if you gave up? You wouldn't be riding a bicycle right now or doing whatever it is you thought was difficult. That was difficult, but you continued until you were that lion roar. We won't do lion roars here. So in order to utilize hope, you must take decisive action. Okay? Not slumber in that passivity there. You know what true hope is? It's action. That's it. I know a lot of times we say, oh, let it happen. Let it drop from the heavens, and it happens. I don't know. I'm still waiting for that to happen. But when I got up and did something toward that dream, that goal, to that job, get in that interview room that I'm scared to go in, true hope equals taking action. So think back in a moment in your life when you hesitated, like I said, and you hesitated day 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bam, that door of opportunity slammed shut. Then there's a period of regret. Oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. My mother said, don't say woulda, shoulda, coulda. Just do it. But I'm scared. Can't do it because I'm scared. Okay. And I know some of you are saying, well, how can I get promoted and not interview? That's another workshop. And I can't even write that one because I don't know. I mean, pointed by God, I don't know. So you have to interview. No way around that until you find something new. You tell me if there's a way to promote up without that interview. So you have to be ready, willing, able at a moment's notice to take the key of hope, got the key in your hand, and insert it and open the door of opportunity. Oh, you make it sound so good, Michael Kane. So easy, huh? Just take that key, turn it in, and it's mine. It's not so simple, but you have to take those actions. Well, how can you be ready at a moment's notice? They just had the job announcement 2 days ago, and they gave me till 2 days to do it, or 3 days, or 5. Well, because you got yourself together, you know who you are, you know who you want to be, you know your goals, you know you have your vision down, and you're prepared to take whatever comes your way. Again, in the context, it's in your world that you created, intentional world that you created, that if these things come up, I'm going for it, period. So you prepare when? Today, because your interview already started. Remember, before you got there. And the old cliche, full of cliches today, nothing ventured is nothing gained. Go for it with asterisks. Okay. Okay, we're inching close to that room, that interview room. Building effective relationships is a key element of being selected for a position, training and development assignment, some special project to develop yourself. So your team is a coach, mentor, anyone that you trust for advice, whoever you go to. That could be anyone, teachers, counselors, pastors, family, colleagues, anybody. But people are invaluable. They give you great advice, and get someone that will tell you the truth and say, you need to develop in these areas. Your strong points are these areas, and you could do that yourself first. So this is a tremendous building block as far as effective. And notice effective goes before relationship. So don't burn your bridge, another old cliche, so so how can we become effective or build these effective relationships? How can we? We invest in the stock market, right? We invest in real estate with our home. We invest in crypto. We invest in watching the Super Bowl, having a Super Bowl party. We invest in so much stuff, a new refrigerator. A lot of times we just don't invest in ourselves. Who's more important than you? And I'm not talking about your family, your kids, your mother, father. we're talking about you going for the interview opportunity, a job, career, growth. Invest in yourself. Assignments can accept. Hey, Joe, do you want to do this thing? Sure. Even before you know what it is. Throw yourself out there, close to that ledge without even asking. It'll help you grow significantly, because they wouldn't ask you if they didn't think you could do it. Lateral transfers, training development, I mentioned, classes, mentoring programs we have, networking, think CWC, specifically Puerto del Sol. And they didn't ask me to say that, by the way. So they didn't ask me. I didn't give my checking account to them so they can make a deposit. So I didn't have I've made a lot of contacts in CWC, I've been glad to help them because it's helping other people, it's paying it forward. And have I arrived on the top mountaintop of mine? Yeah, I'm still working on it. And so, but it's important for that investment. Promotional opportunities is investing in yourself. That pathway, that next step up to get to that ultimate 5 step ups, you got to get through them other ones, right? If you're walking upstairs, you don't skip 4 stairs, right? Now that may happen. Some people may get a quadruple promotional opportunity. That could happen, but generally it's 1 step at a time. Non-volunteer for stuff, maybe not necessarily EDD or whatever agency or employer you're with. It could be on your own time, own nonprofit to help feed the homeless. It could, you develop those relationships. and connect with people. So I encourage you to do that. Things to consider. Again, today you're working, tomorrow you're working on the job. Your performance, consider your performance and your progress evaluations. How can I do better, boss? How can I improve in this area? Can you help me? I would love to blank, 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 la, 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 la. They play a role in the extent of your success as well. And we really talk about how well you work with others, and a work ethic. We really talked about, when I say just showing up, attendance, participation in meetings. Those are things that demonstrate to superiors that you're ready for the next level up step. Now, and they may not be an immediate opportunity every day, next week, in 6 months, but it's building, it's a stepping stone. It's building your investment in yourself and your arsenal, okay? References validate essentially what you already demonstrated on the job and in an interview. They validate it. So it's good to select, to build you already built the effective relationships, and then to select people that will give you a good recommendation once you apply for a position. And let me stop there. In our last mass hiring in UI branch, we had 1 or 2 people gave us references, a few people that they never called us back. We wanted to hire them. So get people that when they see us calling, they will back you up and call us back. And we couldn't hire them without a reference check. It was like a waste of everybody's time. We interviewed, we did all this, and we kept telling them, your people aren't calling us. We want to hire you. Do you want to be hired? Okay. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand that, but things like that happen. Work-life balance. Again, is this your job? Not every job opportunity is your opportunity. That's why I was saying about the feather. Wherever the feather goes, you go. Is be clear what the responsibilities and the obligations are for that job. Does it meet your personal definition? Okay, your definition. Preparing yourself for an interview. Good night's sleep. I had people with bloodshot red eyes, look like they haven't slept in 3 days. Okay. So please, you say, why did you even put that as a bullet? Because it's my experience. I'm giving you my experience. Good night's sleep. Avoid conflict. We've had people come to interview agitated. Can you imagine going, oh, well, it's like, we thought, man, should we call CHP? I mean, I'm like, okay. I mean, in the interview, you'd be surprised. Error-free, updated state application. We're going to go over that in a moment. Make sure it's clean. Compelling statement, SOQ. Val Moeller does an excellent statement of qualifications training. I don't know if she's been in your area, but she's done one. She does that. Research, learn, and we'll go over that SOQ. Research, learn all you can about the position, job duties, and employer. I applied in Anaheim. It was workforce services. It was just turning into workforce services, and I was the number 2. I was the runner-up. I guess it's good to be runner-up. It's not. I could have been last, but didn't get the job. But and why I didn't get the job is because the other fellow, I won't mention his name. He's well known, and I like him. He's a friend. He knew more about the geography of the landscape of the employer community than anybody. He did his homework. I mean, he just totally just knew everything, what the biggest employer is, what they do, how we can help them as EDD, workforce services. It's like, I knew 50% of what he knew. And so it wasn't my job. Yeah, I did, and that was a lesson for me. That never happened again. I did my homework. Practice, practice, more practice. Practice in front of a mirror, practice in front of someone that will tell you the truth. And why I keep saying that, because there are people that, yes sir, people will tell you anything that, oh, you're doing great, when you're not. You don't want to hear that. You want to know the truth before you step in that interview room. Participate in mock interviews. pre-pandemic, UI, workforce services, tax, and DI, us EDAs got together every so often to do mock interviews. I think the last one was in my office in Anaheim before the pandemic, and where we invited people, managers, whatever your first line staff, whoever you were, to sit down in a hot seat where we drilled you. We drilled you more than you would get in a real interview. In fact, we were amazed we were tough. That tough, we were like, whoa, man, we wouldn't even survive this one. So it's important those things come up. To volunteer, I know it's scary, but now those are heroes. The ones that volunteered to sit in that chair, they were heroes. I said, man, you have guts. And so written exercise, be focused, responsive to the questions or the setup. So if there's a written part of the exam, you want to make sure that grammar, that spelling, everything, and you're answering the question. You're actually answering it. We get folks that they responded, but that wasn't our question. Okay, what they responded to. And so I love the honeycombs, love bees, prepare, prepare, prepare. I'm saying it again, can't say it enough. Good first impressions. Good first impression, what does that mean? It means your Sunday's best. Dress the part, dress as if it's your job. I've had people, in my career as a panel member and lead panel member, come in jumpsuits, like an exercise jumpsuit. And I reminded the individual, you notice a job interview, right? I mean, I had to say it. I was like, it's like, okay, he's coming in here looking like Elvis. And it's like, with the thing, Elvis was at, I'm like, oh, wow, wow, wow. Okay, I love Elvis, but not today in his interview. So it's important to be groomed and to just look the part. And some people, they come to it and they don't even look the part. And so it's important to prepare yourself, be enthusiastic and confident. I know that's a lofty goal. How do I just be confident? By practicing, rehearsing, developing on the job, establishing the relationships where you can honestly say, I did all I can do. All I can do. And be on time. We talked about attendance. We talked about that. Smile, smile, smile. Let your positive energy permeate the room. Just be pleasant demeanor, be calm. And I know I get nervous too. We all get nervous, but try to convert that nervous energy into that positive, I'm confident. And of course you're going to be a little nervous. You're human. But the more you prepare and the more you do this, less that will show up. Okay. So application of employment. Nothing but the facts, leave no stone unturned. You're competing, it's highly competitive. Put everything on there. I've seen people shortchange themselves by not putting this and that on there that would have elevated them a little higher. And I've had some where the grammar and spelling was like 10 errors on there. You just, when you're in a competition, I know that could be deemed as a bad word, but it's in a competitive situation here. So you are being evaluated versus your peers. So it's important that you do all you can do to make sure your I's dotted, T's crossed. With your position, training experience, education, employment history. We've had people in this last go around didn't even put their employment history. How am I supposed to grade that? Did not put, I wanted to hire this person. They did not put the employment history. What's the point of our application if you don't put the history on there? And so, and I don't want to talk down to anyone, but I'm just saying, I've seen all this stuff and why, with people, they desire to move ahead, but they didn't take the time or treat it as important to make sure their application is prepared properly. And if you have any achievements, you put that down too, and you say that in an interview. Statement of qualifications. Now, the way to write, and there's a whole class on statement of qualifications through CWC, through, again, Val Moeller does excellent presentations with this, and other people I've seen. But it's basically to relate your experience, your qualifications to the job that you're applying to, that you will hopefully interview to. So it's important. For example, and when we do military, when we help veterans, well, what did you do in the military? I did this, that. I blew up stuff, bridges and stuff. I was in active combat. I was did electrical and mechanical, fixing Jeeps, airplane engines. Well, those can be translated over into civilian life. So some people actually said, well, I don't have any civilian experience. I say, you know what? You have more experience that you did in the military than half the people that we see. So we converted the military language into the civilian language. And all of a sudden, wow, you need an Academy Award now. And so it's important to whatever your prior experience is to relate that to the position at hand. And a lot of people fail to relate the jobs and the skill set and knowledge they develop to the present position. And I also want to mention that in the actual interview, you're going to, you need to relay that and say who you are. You need to tell them. And we're going to get into that in a second. Resume, we don't, in UI, we don't really accept resumes, but I'm just put it up here as another avenue. I like having one because it just flows so friendly, and I know what I keep, what I know, what I do, what I did and stuff. But in some departments, they do accept them if it's not EDD. Effective communication techniques. Okay, we are in the room, make no mistake. The etiquette is here. They call your name, you're in the interview room, and they may stand up, or they may have a third or fourth, fifth party get you, and they're sitting down. You go to them, shake their hands, etiquette, say good morning to everyone, look everybody in the eye. Body language should be one of confidence. Now, I've had people slouched over like this, slouched and look, not even look us in the eye because they're so nervous or scared or fearful, and or for whatever reason they just can't look at us. And so it's important to properly acknowledge and greet the panel members. I had one interview where the interviewee failed to shake the hand of one person. And so it's important that you treat everyone fairly in that. Use proper language and diction, active listening. Let me start with listening. If you don't understand the question, ask them, can you please repeat it? I had to do that because I literally just like, what did they ask me? You know, and one thing you don't want to do is engage the question and you didn't really fully grasp what they were asking you. And so it's important that you make sure you define what that question is. And also speak up, articulate clearly. We had some people, oh, I'm sorry, can you speak up? You know, they're almost kind of mumbly or just whatever. And we know people are nervous. We factor that in, by the way. We don't deduct 10 points for you being nervous, okay? Toot your own horn. What does that mean? It means say something about yourself. Now, a lot of people confuse this with being arrogant and egotistical. I'm God's gift to you. You need to hire me because I float in the heavens with the rest of my angelic peers. No, you need to speak and share your life story, your vocational life story with us on why we should hire you. Some people didn't say enough, didn't respond enough because they thought they would be considered arrogant. That's why you have to practice in some of these questions so you know where that line is. You know where to draw that line. And so everything I told you what to do is the opposite of is included in avoiding common mistakes, not personable. You know, you don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Charisma per se, but it's should be some kind of just welcoming type. I'm welcome you panel members into my world, not tooting on horn, just keeping it to yourself. And one reason some people didn't toot their own horn, why? Because they were too comfortable, the next bullet, with the panel. They knew, and we knew them, even worked with them. Me. And so they felt that because I worked with most of the panel members, one or two or three or all, at some point in their career, that I shouldn't have to say too much. And yeah, and I had discussions after the interview, after the process was over. How well did I do, Mr. Kane? Well, here's the honesty here. We worked together 20 years. You just assumed I was going to write stuff you didn't say. You just assumed we were going to. No, we cannot write anything unless it comes out of your mouth. And so that's a big one. They get too comfortable. And you have to act like we're new. We don't know you. It's a professional setting, and it's a legality involved in this. Okay? No preferential treatment. You have to answer the question, period. And then some people, not professional. Oh my gosh, why would you do that in an interview? Well, rambling. Some people 2 minutes into the question, answering it, didn't even answer the question after 2 minutes of talking, because they didn't understand it, or should have asked, excuse me, can you repeat the question? Or only heavens knows. And so not properly greeting panel members, not providing sufficient strong examples. People ask me, well, what example should I give in an interview? Your strongest one. What's the best thing, your number one? Look, for example, in two races, one race, you got fifth place. You got fifth place in a track meet. You're running fifth place. The other one, you got a gold medal at the Olympics. Why tell us about the fifth place one? Okay, keep that to yourself. I was in fifth place, but you got a gold medal in Greece. Tell us about that one. Okay, tell us about your gold medal of your career, of your experience as you relate it to us. Give us that gold medal version, and then go trickle down to fifth place if if it's some relevancy there. But you want to start off with your strongest thing, your strongest experience, knowledge, skill, ability, or whatever. Okay. Now, if you do all those other things I talked about, then you will provide a lasting impression. People, no matter what your skill level, and this is not 100%, but they want to know if they can work with you. Are you going to be difficult? Because who wants to work with somebody that's going to be difficult? I don't care how brilliant they are. But typically, you want someone that you can easily work with, that you can be the team player. Remember in the interviews, you've interviewed somewhere, see how I'm a people person. Hi, I'm Michael Kane, and I'm a people person. I love people, So did we really mean that? Okay, so it's important that we truly believe that and act it. I don't want you to just put on an air just to get the job, because if the job means working with a whole bunch of people and you're not like that, that's maybe not a good match for you. So, but you already demonstrated that what on the job, and they know it, they will know it. You already demonstrated that year in, year out, that you were good to work with, that you listener, you're involved, participate, you carry your own load, right? And you exude confidence. People want to know, can I trust him? Or are we on the Titanic? And you know what happened to the Titanic. Are you on a Titanic ship or some other ship, the one that made it? So they want to know that they're leaving everything in good hands with you. They want to know if you're committed. And you have to articulate these things without being braggadocious, without being arrogant. There's a fine line to say comfortably, confidently, I'm the person for the job because of blank, 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 blank. And let me tell you, all interview questions only come from a few questions. A big one is the team player. The other one is communication. Other ones like leadership level. What project were you on? What did you lead? What did you co-lead? What did you? All the questions come only from a handful of questions. So you can practice and make up your own questions or go questions you already been asked in the previous interviews. And now there may be different levels of intensity to those questions. And I'm telling you, it was like part A. We had an administrator when I was rising the ranks and committee. He used to ask 3 to 4 or 5-part questions. I said, isn't that really 5 separate questions? But we couldn't say that. That's in our say that to your head, right? It's like, okay, you're going down to the beach, and then we end up going to the movies, and in the store, and then we have 4 children. Now, what happened with it? Was like, really? it was like disjointed and whatever. And he would do that for a reason. He wanted to test if you were going to fall apart in the interview. Do that strategically. If you're just going to pass out. And I won't mention his name, but he passed away a few years ago. But he would purposely do that where you needed some therapy after that interview. So and his interviews, he had 4 other people. Can you imagine the typical interviews, 3 people? He had like 5 people in there. I was like, you're already about to pass out when you see 5 people. Okay. So what I'm saying is you have to be prepared for whatever when you go in that room, that whatever comes your way, whatever balls they throw at you, that you're going to hit. The goal is to get on base and also to get a home run, maybe a grand slam. Okay. And so that's why it takes extraordinary patience, practice, and forethought before you even get to that interview room. And you're in an interview room now. Okay. So you want to close the deal here. You're trying to sell the house, sell the car. Okay, you're closing the deal here. To recap, it's basically a little recap. Give your strongest answers, examples, the best, and never lose sight of the number one, what they really want to know. Why you versus your friend that we just interviewed, or the one we're going to interview after you. Why you? Every answer has to ask that question in their question, in each question. Why are you number one? Again, not to be egotistical and arrogant, but there is a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3 at the end of the day. Okay, gold, silver, and bronze. That's the reality we live in. So, and that last holy question, do you have anything to add? Now, we don't rate that last question, but we're talking about leaving a great impression, which they will consider you in the top 2, 3 of their candidate pool. They will consider you a grand slam based on that last question too. Why are you so great and wonderful, Mr. Jones? And so, and the question to it, do you have anything to add? Do you have yes, you want to leave them with that last impression, which you're going to briefly recap the elements of why they should hire you. You work well with others, you're good on projects, the blah, blah, blah. It's short and sweet, to the point. And we also talked about good references, okay? Make sure they're good. And just little resources here. Upward Mobility Guide, great guide. Labor market information, has a lot of information on it. CalHR stuff, Career Zone California. So there you go. Believe in yourself, invest in yourself. Before you can invest in yourself, you have to believe in yourself. That's my opinion. So I had a gentleman come to my office. It was about 2019. It was about promotional opportunities and stuff. He says, I think I'm too old. I think I waited too late, Mr. Kane. He says, well, okay. He was, I think he was about 52. I said, your life isn't over at 52. I had to convince him. I'm like, It's not over. And I've had the other side. Do you think they won't take me seriously because I'm young, Mr. Kane? Go for it. Now, you can't control other people and what they think. You can't. You can control you. So I tell anyone comes to my office on the phone or whatever because of telework, it's not too late. As long as our heart is beating, our lungs are full of air, you're not too old, not too young, not too late. I have the courage. You will have the courage when you do what I said. You know, you walk through it and you get courage that way. You have the talent. You have all you need to be successful. And then you end it, I will succeed. And that definition is different for everybody, what success is. So make it your own. Don't compare yourself necessarily to other folks. They're on a different pathway. Not everyone's on the same pathway. So just keep that in mind. And you got to say, you're going to be so good, they can't ignore you. We should class, repeat after me. So good. I'm so good, they can't ignore me. So every day you show up, every day you meet the demands of the job, you help your colleagues survive and do well too. You pay it sideways, forwards, backwards, help everyone, the customers, internally, external customers, and you do all you can do to move forward to whatever your purpose, your calling, your cause is. So, so it's important that you, be the best version of you. So, and that said, that's all I have. That's all I have. I want to thank you again for showing up, coming, give me the opportunity to speak, to share my points of views, and I hope you have something, got something out of it. So I want to thank you, Puerto del Sol, and everyone else.
Well, we want to